I don't get along with it. But Jesus said, peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. When you came, we didn't know about you. But one thing struck me when Jim was explaining the meaning of Marais. Has meaning. That meant something to me. I like names that have meaning. God has meaning to each part of his name. Comfort. And the thing that struck me most about Jim and Amy was their kids. We'd come after school, might be an hour after school. There they would sit. Marais would be reading, Bram would be reading. They're at peace. Now, if you saw me, my dad was a school teacher after school, an hour later, this is what I'd be doing. When are we going to go home, Dad? Can't you hurry up? Not them. Never. They were at peace. And you got that feeling that their parents were at peace. You had a good feeling about the school. It was a good school because of what their kids were portraying. That's what God looks for us to do. Portray that he's a good God through how we act. And I was blessed by that. When they came and sang for church, I was always blessed because they wanted to share. And I was always glad to be able to be in school at worship time because they would be singing. I love songs. So we're glad that we got a part to share in Marais. And we're glad that you're here.
About a year ago, Dewey and I decided that we needed a little help with some of the chores in the home. My knee was getting worse and my hip. And Dewey didn't really want to do all that cleaning. And so we thought about it for a few minutes and we thought, I know, Marais. She was just 10 at the time. We talked to Jim and Amy and we asked them whether they would rent a kid for a couple of hours a week. And we said we would not take advantage of her. We would pay her for her services. And Jim and Amy thought about it and they agreed that we could rent Marais a couple of hours. It wasn't every week, every other week. And Dewey determined the wage he would pay her, and he paid her prevailing wages. And she saved her money, and she was able to buy herself a kayak, a bright pink kayak. And the first time I remember her teaching her to mop the floor, she was pretty, what's the word you want to use? Not very well coordinated. We had to redo some things, but she learned very quickly, and she took her job very seriously. And I thank Jim and Amy for having that special time with her. We taught her some things, and it seems to be that with my children, they always work better for somebody else. And it was heartwarming to hear Amy tell me that Marais had learned so much from me. She took her job very seriously, and we appreciated so much her help. We called her Mini-Me. That was the favorite time. She would tease Dewey, and she would help me. It didn't matter what I asked her to do. She did it well. And I thank you, Jim and Amy, for raising such a fine young lady, and for God's blessing. And I know that how we miss her is nothing compared to you, but I'm so thankful that we have hope. And thank you so much for letting us rent your daughter. Thank you.
I'm part of this church family now, if you understand that, so I can talk now. That some of you, by your wonderful stories, have helped me to think of, and Amy had asked me to share one thing with you. When Brant and Marais were at my house, across the front of the house is a deck, and the bedroom windows are on, access to that deck. And so Brant went to bed, Marais and I were sharing the bedroom, and we would get into bed and work on memorizing that psalm that was in her obituary. And I said, "Hey, Marais, let's go sing to Brant." And so we opened the bedroom door and went traipsing around the deck to where Brant was in bed. It was dark, and we started to sing to him. And he just, a teenage boy just kind of moans, one of these girls doing. But that has become kind of a tradition now, a wonderful tradition at our home. When Jim and Amy came, Brant and Marais and I couldn't wait to sing to them. It was a little traumatizing. They didn't realize they were supposed to shut the bedroom light off when you're getting ready for bed, because I have no curtains on my windows. It worked out okay. The light was never on again. And we were traumatized. And then we even had the pleasure of having, Marais and I had given them the master bedroom then, and then we took Brant's bedroom, and now he was downstairs with a manly bathroom all to himself. And we were in our bedroom getting ready for bed and going over our psalm, and we started to hear, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." And Amy was singing to us. And I thought, how wonderful. And then Amy, I'm not sure, we girls can be a little bit rascals in our family, and I just don't know why in the world she warned Annie about this. But she just let her know, if you're getting ready for bed, shut that light off. Somebody is going to be singing to you in no time. And Amy got to sneak across the deck with us and sing to Annie and Philip when they were there. And I thought I heard some harmonizing from inside the bedroom. And Sharon, you mentioned the kayak. Excuse me. I have a bog pond. I don't know if you have bog ponds here in Pennsylvania, but in Wisconsin, up in the North Woods, there will be what's really called a bog pond, because there is no sand or solid ground approach to the pond. It's all bog, and so if you walked on it, it would just roll with you. And to get to my bog pond, the previous owner had put a boardwalk there. Marais was a water rat. She loved the water. You could hardly keep her out of that pond. And I have a vest life jacket. She would put that on, and I wish I had a picture of it, but I could see it in my mind. From the deck, you could look out over the pond, and it looked like a 5-gallon bucket was chasing Brant in the kayak, because she would put that vest on, and it would go up over her head. The armholes were big enough so that would go up. You couldn't see her head if you were looking from the back, and all you saw was a 5-gallon bucket splashing like crazy to catch her big brother. That was a wonderful memory to have of her. I, being a mean mother, you maybe know what those are. They care about who their children's friends are. They make them go to bed on time. fill the chainsaw, and we would head for the woods. And I said, when the chainsaw's empty, then we can come back home. I would, trim the branches there, and they'd stick them in the back of the truck. Marais never wanted to see another log in her life. But it is such a blessing to have a Heavenly Father that disciplines us so that we can share in His holiness. And Philip's mom and dad sent a statement that I don't ever recall having read or heard before, but it was about our holiness. And the gist of, Peter, found it. Let me just read it to you. Holiness is an entire surrender of the will to God. It is living by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. It is doing the will of our Heavenly Father. It is trusting God in trial, in darkness, as well as in the light. It is walking by faith and not by sight. It is relying on God with unquestioning confidence and resting in His love. And I just thought, boy, Lord, you have ministered to us from all over the world. Thank you, Father, for that. And from heaven.
Ron Chrisman, and I'm from the Pennsylvania Conference of Seventh-day Adventists that's located in Reading. And we as a conference agree. And in being here, I recognize I never knew Rhea. Just met you this morning, Amy and Jim. You're part of the conference family. And we grieve, but I've been blessed here today by seeing the testimony of grief wrapped in hope. Thank you so much. I also feel part of the Blossberg family. I've never been to the Blossberg church before, but my dad, back in the early 1940s, had this church as his first district. And so I've known the Smith family, and you've been such a blessing. I've known them for a long time. And what a blessing this church family has continued to be over the decades, not just a short period of time.
Some of you in this community know my husband and I were the other Smith, not related to the Smith family that was here. We had a chance to meet Jim and Amy and their children last November. David and I volunteered with Operation Christmas Child, and as some of you know, that's a non-denominational group, and we worship with many brothers and sisters. We had the opportunity to spend a Sunday afternoon with Jim and Amy and their children and other members. Brent and his wife is also Amy, if I remember. Okay, sorry. But when I got home late Thursday evening from visiting my own sister who's very ill, I opened social media, which had shared the story as it was unfolding over the weekend. And, as a mother and as a grandmother of an 11-year-old son, my heart was like, how can this happen? How do accidents happen? They happen. You go through how did it transpire? What's the family going through? Had no clue that this was a family that we had gotten to meet. Like I said, for one afternoon. When I got home Thursday evening and I should say early Friday morning, I opened my email and my Facebook just to check to see how my sister was doing. And this beautiful face was the first thing I saw. And I started reading, and I'm like, Lord, I know this little girl. How do I know this little girl? And as I read further, it made me realize the gift that you had given to us on that Sunday afternoon is a gift that we will cherish. Just meeting your daughter once, and the blessing that she was. I will probably continue to call her Marissa, even though I have wrote it down. But again, just thank you for the life that you gave that child to be a blessing to so many.
Well, as some of you know, I like to go to yard sales. And several months ago, I went to one, and here's these beautiful Barbie dolls. It wasn't the Barbie dolls that were beautiful. It was the gown that had been crocheted and was on a head. And there was about, I'd say 7 or 8 of them. So I said to the lady, I'll take them home. And I took them home, had them in a tote, and I moved the tote here, and I moved the tote there, and I cleaned, and I moved the tote someplace else. Finally, I thought, these Barbie dolls aren't being taken care of. So I was at the school one day, and Marais and her friend Mia were playing with Barbie dolls. And I said to them, you like Barbie dolls? And I remember Marais turned around, she said, oh yeah. And I said, well, I'm asking because I have some Barbie dolls that need a home. And she said, oh, and just dropped them. So a few days later, I packed them all up, then was moving some stuff, and I said, put those right in there. And I took them in, and I said to the girls, I have something here for you. Well, Marais popped up, she knew I talked to her about these Barbie dolls. And I gave them to her, to the girls. One of the things I've noticed is unless people are into arts, crafts, needlework, sometimes they don't appreciate the quality or the time that's gone into it. So I watched the girls, they took them out, and they felt of each outfit, and they oohed, and they awed over it. And I thought, if the ladies that made these could see this now, how their heart would be touched that it wasn't in vain that they made them. And of course they were seeing, I like this one. Well, I like this one here. They were kind of divvying them up between them. But I just, I knew that when Marais was looking at those, she had her mother's artistic quality and was thinking of the work that went in there. So I just felt blessed that they were being appreciated and I didn't have to move them again.
Marais was such a wonderful child. She came and helped me clean my chicken coop and was delighted. Right after they got back, first Saturday she came in. I said, did you have a good time? She said, oh, but I'm so glad to be home. My mom is awesome. Just, for a child that young to just realize, just touched me so much.
I'm convinced that there's going to be blackberries in the new earth. A week ago Tuesday evening, I'm not so sure Brother Brandon and Jim enjoyed it so much. We had found a blackberry patch, and they like blackberries. So Jim and I took them picking blackberries. It wasn't real successful, but Amy says, this has been a wonderful time together. And Marais and I picked together, so to speak, and had a nice conversation. And, you know, I couldn't think of what we talked about, but it was like a friend to a friend, because she understood us as old people. And she understood the children. You should have seen her the last Sabbath that we were here together. She took Rosemary's little great-grandchildren, and Mia does too, and sometimes Dustin does, took them around. We have our offering, children's, that goes for Christian education. And they're so attentive, making sure that they didn't run, and making sure that the money goes in. There's beauty in every one of us. And there's beauty in the life that Marais has, and when we see her, when Jesus comes, it will be something that we can look forward to, and something that we never will regret, that she touched our lives and made us happy. So I'm looking forward to picking blackberries in the new earth with Marais.
I wasn't going to say anything. When I saw the christening gal, I thought, I better do that.
My name is Ileana Espinosa, Associate Director for Education at the Columbia Union. And on behalf of the Columbia Union, Jim and Amy, I'd like to let you know we love you, we're with you, and to hear the stories from Marais today, who I didn't have the privilege of meeting. It's been a tremendous blessing. Thank you.
What a privilege it was to know Marais, and Brent, Jim, and Amy. Jeannie and I, Pathfinder directors with Bossburg Miners here. For those of you who don't know what Pathfinders is, it's pretty much like Boy Scout drill, or Scouts. Guess I'm losing it a little bit here. And during our time with Marais and Pathfinder, she was always a joy to have. She was always interested in what was going on. And she was always saying, can I do that? Can I do this? You know? And she was always very involved. And her and I, over the time we got to know each other, used to have this little pick on each other thing. And we used to just, you know, tease each other, and her eyes would just light up, and we just had such a good time doing that together. And there are times when I would have the kids in our vehicle, and we'd maybe be going up our road, you know, where it's 25 mile an hour, but I would take the vehicle and I would, you know, go crazy all over the road a little bit, you know, and she would say, no, I'm not riding with you anymore. And then she would scream, do it again, you know. She was just such a joy to have around, and we're really going to miss her. And I just, you know, this church has always looked on all our kids as not just my kids or Jim and Amy's kids. They're the whole church's kids. And for a lot of us, we have Marais as a friend, a sister, a niece, a granddaughter or son, a daughter. And so she has been a part of all our lives and touched us in a special way. And Jimmy and Amy have been like brother and sister to us. So we appreciate the time we've had to share and spend together. And we're thankful to God that we had those moments with Marais. And we'll hold them close to our hearts.
Just about 2 weeks ago, my husband celebrated his 85th birthday. That was quite overwhelming to Marais. And we had a corn roast a couple weeks ago at school, and she sat across from us, and she says, "Tell me," she said to me, "Tell me, how does it feel to be 85? I said, "Well, you'll find out soon enough." She says, "I've got 74 years to go." And he says, "That'll go real fast." She says, "Really?" So I used something to tease her, and she loved every minute of it.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jill's sister, and I came in last night from Wisconsin. And even though they're having a second service in Sheboygan, I had to be here because I wanted to know more about my niece. I want to know her church, her church family. I want to know where she went to school. I want to see her room. I just want to know more about her. And one of my favorite memories with her, she actually made it on my bucket list. She didn't know that, but Jim has that tractor that he's been working on forever at my dad's house, in his shed. And he finally got it going. And so, Jim made my world too. We were in a parade, our local little parade around our town. I've always wanted to be in the parade. I was begging my dad to let us be in the parade. But Jim made my dreams come true. And Marais and Grant and my 3 kids and Scott's 2 kids. And Amy and I were up there. Jim was pulling a wagon. And we were all kind of had little areas. And this parade is so cool because you can throw candy. So you have to be careful because you want to make sure that you throw it out far enough so that the little kids don't get too close. So we're kind of throwing it, and I'm kind of the bad hand. I'm kind of like the rebellious hand. I'm like, you guys, just whip the candy. Just hit them. And they were saying, I was looking around, they're hitting people on their heads, in their drinks. We're making a little mess, and I'm sure they'll say that's the Muhlenbeck clan. We didn't make it this year to do it, but she was just an angel. She was a delight, and she was a blessing. And, I think that God wanted me to come here for a reason. Because there was many reasons why I couldn't come, but there's a big reason why I came. And I really truly believe that God wanted me to be here. And because there's so much strong faith. And I feel very like my faith has been strengthened by hearing everybody's stories and just how everybody's pulled together in the community, and you have to know that there's a God. And so, during this time, we'll just say, we'll see you later, Marais. Oh, one more thing I missed. Is that whenever I used to see the kids, I didn't get to, I wish I got to see them more often, but we were so far away. But it's always kind of cute. I always look forward to when they would come and stand beside me. And
a good thing. And we're going to forego some of the things that I put in the bulletin. And what we're going to do is sing together out of the colored book in your pew. Number 98. This is the day. This is Marais' favorite song. And then we're going to watch the PowerPoint that Grant made of her. And then we're going to go